Oh my God, we got to remember to push the button. It's Friday, Monday, Friday. Is it Friday? Is it Monday? I have no idea what day it is anymore, all right, you guys? I have no idea what day it is anymore. I thought it was Friday. I just started yelling about how it's Friday. Oh my God, it's Friday. Everyone get ready for the weekend. The weekend is over, but I spent all weekend working, so I have no idea what day it is. I was thinking, wow, it might be the end of the week, and we might have some weekend stuff to do here. But apparently my life has turned into a 24-hour work cycle where I work, and then I go to sleep, and then I drive around, and then I do some work, and then I drive around, and then I do some sleep, and then I get up, and then I have night terrors, you know, because I wake up in the middle of the night, and I wonder if I'm supposed to be at work or headed to work, or if there's a work thing I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm all sweaty. You guys have that? Do you guys wake up in the middle of the night just sweating and screaming? Does that ever happen to you? Does that happen to you, the boys out there and the girls out there and the non-binaries out there? Does that happen to all y'all? Does that happen to you? Because that happens to me. I wake up screaming and I wake up my lovely spouse. Does that happen? No? Probably not. It probably doesn't happen to you guys. You probably sleep like normal humans. Not me. Not this guy. I go into like deep pass out mode. Like I conk out in like 5 minutes, and Vicky gets mad that I go to sleep so quickly, because I basically lay down and then I breathe for like 30 seconds and then I'm asleep, and then I wake up in the middle of the night screaming about something. Is that normal? Is that normal? I don't think it's normal. Vicky doesn't seem to think it's normal. Hold on, I just got like a bucket load of emails because I haven't been in the office really today. And these are a bunch of emails I'm going to have to reply to. Great. Let's go ahead and delete this computer. And we'll do the promotional thing. So the last time I updated this computer over here, we had 73 members. Now we have Uh-oh, this number's about to get kinky over here. This is about to be a controversial number. Controversial number in the right-hand corner. Which we might have to make a text overlay here. We might need to insert. Hold on. Do I have a text? Let me see. Text. Okay, here's a text that I can edit. Okay, we can edit this one. We can go like this. And then we got to make it italic. Should we make it italic? Italic. Throw some stank on it, right? Wait. I italicize that. Yes. Let's bold it too. We'll give it some bold. Boldination. Then what? Hold on. What font should it be in? Let's see. Okay, let's make it visible so we can make sure you guys are in on the joke. Make visible. There we go. Okay, and then let's unbold it. Let's make it less bold. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Hold on. What we need like Ooh, that one's actually not. That one might do it. Let's see. What do we got here? Alfredo? No, that's not good. We don't like the Alfredo font. Space Encounters? No. No, we don't like that one. We want something that's kind of scripty. Oh, there we go. That's fine. That's a good one. And let's go ahead and make it red. We're going to make... Where's red? Why don't we just have red? Oh, Lord. Give me a custom font here. Give me a custom palette. Why is it pink? Why don't I have red? Why don't we just have the color red on this color? Oh my God, guys, we're being smote. We're being besmirched by our current color palette. What's the color number for red? Let's go 800. Does that work? No, it's not a good. 800. No. Nope, it won't give us just like a regular old red. Okay. Well, either way, we'll put it, we're going to have to drag this over here. And can we make it smaller? Is that a feature? Oh my God, the box is huge. What happened? What's going on with this box? This font box is a monstrosity of hugeness. Become smaller. Become smaller. No, I don't know what I'm shrinking right now. There. Oh, this box. There we go. Hold on. Oh, can we shrink it? We can stretch it. We can make it do weird. All right, screw it. We're just going to put it right over the top. There we go. Can I? Oh, you want it to keep flashing? I wonder if we. Oh, here's the. Oh, well, that's the color. Layout effects. Let's see if we can. We can sharpen. We can smoothen. We can cool it. We can blur it. We could warm it. I don't know. That doesn't seem to do anything. Transition. Can we make it transition? Can we make it zoom? We can't make it. Oh, we can't make it do that very often. Shoot. I was thinking there was a thing that makes it do that. Is it styles? Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. Oh, no. Oh, scroll. We can make it scroll, I think. Animate it. Let's animate it. There we go. Oh, maybe we can just make it fade. And then it would like... interval. Hold on. 10 milliseconds. That doesn't seem to make it do anything. Delimiter? Oh, that was wild. One? Uh-oh. What? We did a thing. Now it's going crazy. Oh, my God. What does the delimiter do? We don't even know what the delimiter... A delimiter is a character or set of characters that will separate into the text segments be shown per fade effect. Oh, my God. Well, we'll have to make it scroll. That's the best that we can do. We'll make it scroll. Okay, it's not flashing. I'm sorry. I think it's changing color, though. Maybe not. Maybe that's my brain. Maybe my brain's broken. It's you know, the thing is that there's a good possibility that my brain's broken. Okay, so we'll just Yeah, we'll just keep it rolling here. Hold on, let's go. Oh, hold on, we need to adjust this. So we need, let's go like this. We'll space it out enough so that it doesn't roll onto itself. Yeah, like that. And then let's give it a scoot. We'll scoot it over. Like, what am I moving? Oh, I want to move this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll move it right. Like, probably right there. There we go. That's the best I can do. That's the best I got for you. I tried. During the show, even. Wow, you guys have seen, you've seen behind the scenes here with the production of clicking buttons and going like, what does that do? I don't know. Let's make it active. Well, either way, we're down to 69. Nice, right? We're down to 69 members, which is getting us ever closer to our number one. Now, I've decided in my mind that getting to 1 member is going to be virtually impossible. But I think that if we get to 10 members, I'm going to do a lottery drawing live, and I'll put the 10 numbers in a hat, or the 10 remaining members in a hat, and then I'll have Alyssa pull it out of a hat, right? Because we do have a couple of members that will just be a member regardless forever, you know what I mean, kind of deal. Like, the $5 a month doesn't mean anything to them, realistically. So, you know, we can't get to 1. I don't think we're ever going to get to 1. So I'm gonna cut it off at 10. If we get down to 10 members, I'll just give away the show, and somebody else can do the show from there on out. They can do whatever they want with this channel. They can just start screaming into the internet at whatever volume they would like. So, you know, if we get down to 10, that's what I'm going to do. Big shout out to Zelfer9 for being first to the chat today, quickly followed by Frank Dominguez, and Tony Franzen was third. I'm probably saying your last name wrong. Sorry about that. Mikey Fishy, Jason Livingston, Paula Kreinberg, Alyssa Bentley, and New Local Austin, and Big D Smoke kind of round out the 10. Ricab Harris, what's up? Good to see you. Richard Goger, how you doing? What's up? I just hate when it's in the 30s and raining. I'd rather it snow even before I was retired. When I was working, that was about the only way I was getting the day off, too. Good point. The weather here today is busted. The weather here today is cold and busted. I would challenge anybody. That claims that they're from the cold, you know, because I always get that. I always get that from people like in Alaska and whatnot that are like, yeah, it was negative 40 the other day, and I had a blizzard on my eyeballs, and a bear came out of the woods and tried to eat my face off. Oh my God, what are you complaining? It's cold. And I'm like, well, it's 37 degrees. Or 36 degrees. You know, maybe it's 36, maybe it's 37. Is there a big difference? I don't think so. It's raining nonstop, so it's just moist. Everything is sopping wet, and it's windy. So, it's a level of cold that makes no sense and just breaks things realistically, because the moist gets in. Well, look at that. We had a peak of about 40 people watching, and then half of them left. So, see you later, people that left. Bye. Anyhow, so the weather's a little rough out today. I was doing some woodwork outside, and it is cold and moist out there, bros. It's cold and moist in the outside. So it's kind of nice to be back in the office for a couple of hours. I have some fun streaming with you guys. To do some streamery. You know what I mean? We'll be here. We'll talk about some fish tank stuff if anybody has a fish tank question or whatever. We'll talk about some of the weekend. We'll talk about some of the projects. I was going to talk about some of the fish news that was going on in the news today. And I realized that most everything I've gotten out of the news just has to do with, fish and shrimp farming. And I realistically don't think that anybody that watches this channel is really interested. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think anybody's interested. I am, and I'm doing my best to try and get in contact with as many fish farming companies that I can to try and go out and film. So far, I'm 0 for like 4. People are totally happy for me to come out and check out their fish farm with my eyeballs, but they do not want to be interviewed. They don't want anything filmed. So far, of the people that I've talked to. Now, whether that is going to be the impression continuing on, I don't know, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Alyssa Bentley is from the cold. I literally moved away from it because I hate it. Yeah, there's a thing about the cold. It's just every year, you know. Let's see. S says I would have to cancel my membership if I didn't get the channel. Actually, that might be worthwhile. Quickly followed up with the give us the fish talk. So one of the issues that I have is that more often than not, I want to talk about stuff that seemingly the chat has zero interest in. That have like zero interest in, and like I mentioned, the like the fish farms, right? Like the only thing that I think that people have interest in at this point is just that, like, if you made a 60-second TikTok about it, then it might be interesting. But yeah, I just don't know if you guys are even interested in it, and I currently can't start a new project here at my house because we're planning on selling the house, and there's about 9,000 projects that I've been having to do. Like I said, I worked all weekend, built out a mudroom, did some other stuff, built some shelves for somebody. I don't know, just a bunch of crazy nonsense, and I've just been working. And I would like to get to a point where I can build some aqua systems again, but right now I'm just barely maintaining the current ones that I have. So we'll see how it goes with any of that stuff. Every year this damp and cold weather is worse and worse on me. Yeah, it's it's not friendly out there. It's a little bit crazy. I've had nice and sunny, cold, dry weather here, around 20 Fahrenheit for 2 weeks in the middle of Sweden. That doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound too bad at all. Yeah. Aubrey says, I'm interested in fish and fish-adjacent topics. All right. Fish-adjacent? Yeah. Has it frozen there yet this year? We had a short freeze, like, a couple weeks ago, and then we had an early freeze, which kicked a bunch of the produce into... it kicked a bunch of our produce from, like, hey, I'm on the vine to, like, F you, I got frozen kind of situation. So we went through some of that, but, nothing too dramatic yet. We're finally hitting the some snowpack up in the mountains, so that's going to be good. Although I was recently reading a report on the snowpack in the Cascades and how that's just been decreasing over the last 100 years every year, and that's going to eventually lead to some real bad times out here on the old Pacific West Coast, whatever you want to call it out here. The left coast, the Pacific Northwest, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. Richard Goger says, I dig your plant content. I got some new plants a couple weeks ago, and working on growing them out right now. And then, I'll probably make some plant videos about those, in the next couple months, whenever they're grown out to the point where I can really get water tests to go like, yeah, this is a reasonable pH for them. This is kind of what they want. This is the kind of fertilizer they want. CO2 dependent or not. All that kind of stuff that goes into it. Which is kind of one of the issues when I make those plant videos is like, there's certain plants out there that there's a lot of information on, like standard issue Valsnaria, right? Like it's pretty easy to find college papers about, college papers or research papers, I guess, however you want to put it, on Valsnaria. So it's like you really could verify from some positive research on those plants and go like, yeah, it's basically like a neutral pH, and you do want a little harder water than normal, and but it will benefit from CO2, and it will do good in this temperature, but it will go all the way down to this temperature, blah blah blah. And you could definitely go through that kind of stuff with those, but when you're talking about like weird variants and stuff that's kind of newer to the hobby and stuff like that, it really definitely takes a couple of months for me to get a plant. And then I kind of got to go through like multiple different things, right? So first off, you got to have success with the plant. So which means you got to propagate it one way or another. Generally how I do that is I'll float it in multiple tanks, and find out which tank it's going to root in, then get them to grow from there, propagate them out, and then try to grow them in other tanks and see what happens. And, if I have a tank and I raise it up to like 7.4 and it really just dramatically melts that plant off, but it grows back, normally that can give you a pretty good indication of like, well, a pH swing is going to really affect this plant, but it's tolerant to it if you wait it out, right? And the thing is that, like, if we're talking about most Anubias, I've kept probably, I don't know, 30 or something. I don't know. It's a large number of Anubias that I've kept at different times, and I can go back from like old reference material and go like, yeah, that tank was like this, and da 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 da, and I can know kind of specifically like, so like Anubias fraseri, like you don't see that one very often. Let's look it up. Anubias fraseri. Make sure I spell this correctly. So, yeah, Anubias fraseri sells for about $8. It's a pretty cheap Anubias, realistically, but it's a nice tall one that grows up. It's going to give you some height, but I've grown this Anubias like a whole bunch of different times, and if I was to go on and say like, yeah, it has a wide range of pH and blah blah blah, and it's pretty easy and da 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 da. And somebody would be like, "Oh, cool! I watched your video, and then I went and bought it, and then I dropped it in my tank, and then it just died." Right? You'd be like, "Well, hey man, I don't know what to tell you. Sounds like your tank sucks, or whatever." You know what I mean? Like, what am I supposed to tell to the average person who is like watching a YouTube channel if I didn't already put all of the information out there? And then obviously I also need all that content to be from my own stuff. So I would definitely need to make videos about messing with it, unpotting it, how to plant it, showing people how to plant it. Here's, you could glue it to this rock. You could glue it to a stick. You could actually just, lightly bury its roots in the substrate, but you want to keep the rhizome above the substrate, and then people are going to ask you what the rhizome is, so you got to explain the rhizome, which is fine. It's fine to do all that, but I want to know ahead of time what's going to kill this plant, like the Anubias itself, like what's typically going to send it just completely into the toilet, so that when I am making a video, I could throw that in there and be like, all right, here's what's going to really mess it up. Look out for this. Look out for that. I don't think I've been that great about illustrating that in the past, which is why I've made some videos about some plants without publishing them. And one of the big reasons that I haven't published them is because I'm like, it doesn't feel that good. And it certainly doesn't feel that comprehensive and stuff like that. This last year, I've pretty much just been working on. I've just been trying to work on my craft, like just kind of honing my craft, but without the feedback. Because, to be honest with you guys, like, yes, sometimes you get negative feedback on stuff, and could be beneficial, right? Like, it could be a beneficial thing for you to go like, turns out that shot at 5 minutes was blurry, and I didn't realize it was out of focus or whatever. But more often than not, there's two types of feedback that you get. One, that was a great video, thanks, which is totally nice for people to leave that comment. It's like, okay, cool. It doesn't mean a whole lot, though, right? It's like, that's great that somebody was like, hey, thanks, great video. But it doesn't really mean that much, right? Then the other comment is like, F you, I hate you, you're a piece of crap. And you're like, okay. But the two sides of this coin lead to one of two things. You either get greatly depressed about the people that tell you to F off, right? And you go like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, it's the worst. Oh, da, 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 right? Which is useless. But then you get like 90% feedback. You get 90% feedback that's like, great, thanks, awesome video. And you're like, okay. So obviously I'm either the world's biggest piece of crap, or I just did awesome and it's totally fine, right? And it doesn't really help. It doesn't really help to like make yourself better. It doesn't make you like improve on the thing that you're doing. So I've you know, I don't know. I've talked about it on the live stream that I'm just legit trying to get better at my job without being directly in the line of fire. I have published some stuff like anonymously and whatnot to see what realistic feedback there is without already having an audience. And it seems to be that like YouTube's kind of useless right now as far as like getting feedback on that, because it's like, oh, 20 people watched it or whatever, and you got 5 likes. You're like, okay, what is that? I don't even know what happened there. Like, okay, is it any good? Who knows? There's like just really like no information. So, it's kind of one of those weird dichotomies that like, and I feel like I've been thinking about this over the last month a lot. And I've been dwelling on it because of there's been multiple pieces of content that have come out that I've been waiting literally decades for. And one of them being the live action Cowboy Bebop, and the other one being the Wheel of Time series being made into a TV show. Those two things being monumental disappointments. Monumentally disappointing and awful. They just did a terrible job on them. And it has realistically depressed me to the point where I go, I really, really, really want to be able to focus on making content. And the reality of my life is that I'm spread super thin nowadays. I literally have to, I got to jump over here. I got to jump over there. I got to jump back here. I got to go over there. At some point in time, you have to eat food. At some point in time, you have to get rest. At some point in time, you're supposed to work out and stretch and drink lots of water or do yoga or whatever it is you're supposed to do. Now we got the holiday season coming up again, which I cannot tell you how much, how stressful it is to go, oh, there's Christmas coming up, which means I'm supposed to leave for like 5 days because Christmas, right? I don't know how to explain to you guys. Like, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but like, I'm so stressed out that I'm not going to be able to get anything done for 5 days that I don't even know if I'm going to be able to enjoy just being off for a couple of days, right? Yeah. Just Bob says, spoiler, ouch, so no Wheel of Time binge coming. I mean, I would say, like, with the Wheel of Time and Cowboy Bebop, I would recommend to watch them. They are entertaining. if you're somebody who's a huge fan, it will be much less entertaining for you because you will be constantly going like, what? Why? Why is this happening? How is this even, this isn't better, you know? Yeah. Yeah, Tony says, don't forget Victoria and baby Olivia. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I've got the daughter, I've got the spouse, I've got the whole, a lot going on. So it's kind of weird, man. It's just kind of weird. Like, and I've been thinking about this for like the last month. Like, I literally just want to be able to go for a couple of weeks and film something and then edit it and then make it and then have people look at it before it gets published. And I just don't even know how to get to that point. I just don't even know how to get there. Yeah, so it's just kind of weird. It's just a weird vibe to be in, and I don't even know. Realistically, like, you know, people say it's like, oh man, you got to focus on your mental health, and it's like, well, how? How do you focus on your mental health when you got like a million things to do? You know, it's just super weird. It's like, well, now you have 1,000,001, and you better focus on your mental health. It's like tonight would be a perfect example of like, oh, should I focus on my mental health tonight? Because, you know, at 5:00, I got to be done and cleaned up with work because I'm going to go get Olivia. Olivia's going to come back. I have to be making dinner so that dinner is ready by at least 5:45. Vicky's going to come home. She's going to have dinner, and then she's got to go to a meeting until 8:00. I got to be in bed at 9:00 tonight because I got to get up at 3:30 to go to work tomorrow. So, you know, like, what do you do with that? You know, it's like, oh, am I supposed to go meditate or something? Like, I don't know. Because I got to do dinner. Then we eat dinner. Then we got to do bath time. Then I got to clean up all the dishes and the kitchen, get that cleaned up so that's done. The baby going to be running amok, Olivia. She's not helpful with cleaning the dishes at all. Get that all cleaned up and then try to get her into bed by like between 8 and 8:30. And then like I got to try and get to bed by 9, you know? So I don't know. It's just bizarre. And then I remember somebody was like, oh, well, you could, like, when you go to work, you could come home from work and then you could work on YouTube videos or something. And it's just like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I get up at 3:30. I'm out of the house by 4:30. I drive up. I work all day. I do all that stuff. I drive back. It's a couple hours to drive back. I get home at like 6:30 in the evening or something like that. And then I got to eat dinner, and then it's like, what, you know, what are you gonna do? Oh, let me go down to my office. I'm gonna work on YouTube for 6 hours. You know, like, there's just not enough time. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. That's some of the ongoing nonsense that is in my head. Like, is that, and like, so to give you the example of that Anubias video, it's like, okay, so I got to get that plant. I got to do the unpotting video. Then I got to put that, make the planting part of the video, get all that filmed and stuff. And then over the next couple months, I got to figure out how to grow that plant, how to propagate that plant, and then also do all my water tests on how to kill that plant, right? So I got to push the extremes on the plant and then figure out, like, oh, it becomes unsuccessful at this point. It becomes successful in this range, right? So it's really one of those things, you know. I don't, you know, it's like kind of difficult to explain, I guess, to other people, but it's like, you know, if you're to go out there and make a Discovery Channel video, right, where you got to go film moles, right? You got to go figure out what the moles are doing, and you got to go out there and you got to film them for months and months and months and months, right? Because the moles are going to give birth. You got to get that springtime thing. You got to get the hibernation thing. You got to get them digging around and eating stuff and doing all that stuff. And you got to film all that. Well, the Discovery Channel just pays you to go do that. and then you bring back the footage, and then somebody else edits it together and whatnot. Whereas on the YouTube end, it's like, well, I guess maybe I could sacrifice a weekend and make a video for somebody, right? For somebody that's gonna watch it for free and get super pissed that it was 9 minutes long instead of being 6 minutes long, right? Yeah. So I don't know. My therapist loved me because I'll do anything I can do. Only way I won't do something is if the pain is too bad. I see people sometimes, though, and I'm like, damn, why are you all even here? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Randall says I got to make time for myself. I don't know. I feel like the only time I have for myself is when I'm just working on stuff. Because I'm almost always working by myself. So it's like, yeah, I'm working hard and it's work or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like I'm just by myself all the time, so it's just super weird. And yeah, I don't know. I had like a shining light earlier this year of like, oh, maybe there's some people I'm going to be able to work with, because some people were super excited about like doing some video production and stuff like that, and they all just flaked out, just like always. Like, trying to get somebody to do anything like that is just people just flake out. They just flake out super hard. Honestly, like, I'm super appreciative of Alyssa, because like to have somebody show up like that and do the Friday shows is crazy awesome, and I think that's amazing. Yeah. I think that's amazing, and it's crazy to see that. Pine Belt Aquatics says, do people get really mad because videos are long? I can't stand short videos myself. Yes, people get constantly pissed. And if people are wondering, to verify that, TikTok, Instagram, the shorts on Facebook, the shorts on YouTube, everything's short form now. You want to just get 45 seconds of information and then immediately watch a different topic. Like, that's just generally how it works. And like a good example of like people that don't like long content, this live stream will probably be like 2 hours long, and people won't watch it after the fact. They'll watch probably 15 minutes of it, and then they'll do something else. You know, they'll be like, oh, I gotta watch this race car video or whatever. I don't know what people out there are watching anymore, but yeah. Hey, if it don't make sense or feel productive, maybe it's time to just stream. Or just do videos, or none of the above. Family, stable income to create security matters more. So we're financially stable, and I'm going to continue working, and all of that is going to be totally fine. So I'm really not worried about that. It's just that, like, because I'm not going to walk away from work. I would never walk away from work. It's just like, and financially, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, financially, the bills get paid. You got to go to work, and you got to do that. And that does not have, there's nothing wrong with that as far as I'm concerned, realistically. I thought about it a while ago. When there's a lot of people out there that think that automation is going to be able to get rid of people working and stuff like that. And I thought, realistically, if you look at the history of the United States, the amount of time that we should be working should have definitely compressed by now. But all it's done is expanded. It's like literally people are just working all the time now, and that just seems to be the case. I don't know, productivity's through the roof, blah blah blah, all that stuff, and we're just at where we're at. Y'all keep my days entertaining with these streams. I throw them on while at work if I miss them, or watch old ones. Yeah, I listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of streams that are like from weeks ago, months ago, even years ago, and stuff like that, because I just run out of content. Like, there's just there's only so many books I can be listening to audio tapes or reading. I really don't have a lot of time for reading these days. So I have to listen to audiobooks, and there's only so much I can take in with the audiobooks constantly. like there's only so much. There's only so much that you could take in with just audiobooks because it's like, man, info, 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 info. And, sometimes you just want to kind of like laugh about stupid nonsense and things that are going on. And that just doesn't necessarily happen in very many audiobooks. Although in camera news, this is actually is fairly exciting, and nobody probably watching today even cares remotely. But Canon has sort of officially announced that they're going to announce a R5 cinema version, which I've been waiting patiently for what seems like a really long time, which may or may not be accurate if it has been a really long time, but it really feels like it's been a really long time for the cinema version of that camera to come out. I'm very excited. I'm going to sell off some of my equipment and hopefully buy one of those whenever they come out in 2022. But that announcement came out today, which is admittedly pretty exciting. I have to tell you. I'm fairly excited for the prospect of that to come out. Realistically, I am excited for that. So we'll see how that goes. Watch Yours and Corey's Fish Talk is really cool in that respect. You get to kind of see how the hobby changes over the course of the talk streams. Yeah, I think it would be fun for Corey and I to like rehash one episode of the Real Fish Talk or something like that at some point. It's been kind of on my mind. I was thinking about bringing it up next time I talk to him. But I thought I was supposed to see him last week, but I didn't. I think we both got tied up with something stupid. So, we both got busy or whatever. But that's also been the problem of he and I just being too busy to be able to try and do that podcast all the time. Well, he's even more he's even busier than I am. So, it's out of control. Anytime you try to hang out with Corey, it's like he's getting 9 million messages, emails, phone calls, all sorts of crazy stuff. And he's also got like 1 million appointments and things to go to, so it's just kind of bonkers trying to hang out. And if we do get the chance to hang out, like we probably don't want to put it on the internet because we don't have to be like 100% censored with whatever it is that we're going to talk about. So that's generally how it works out on this day and age. Aubrey says, hashtag bring back Real Fish Talk. Well, the thing is, I don't think it ever will. I mean, we might do like once a year or something. We might do a fun once a year thing or whatever. But to be honest with you, like the reality is that like, as a person, Corey has a lot more things to take into consideration with just live streaming and stuff like that than I do. So it makes it kind of weird. It makes it kind of weird, like if I was, like if we were accidentally critical about some product or something, right? It could honestly like negatively affect a business without us even knowing, right? Which is crazy because like you could say like some company made some crappy product or whatever, and all of a sudden their sales dip by like 40%, and they have to fire 2 people from their company because sales are way down. And like, the average person doesn't have to think about that. You know what I mean? Like the average person doesn't have to go out and be like, well, hey, maybe let's tone it down. Somebody might get fired over us saying that this thing is not good, right? Just the average people don't have to think about that. And the reality is that that dude's influential enough that could be a thing that happens, right? So I 100% get it. And it's a lot more fun to just shoot the gab with him as a buddy than it is to be like on a live stream wondering if we accidentally said something that could screw somebody else's day up. You know what I mean? Pine Belt says, yeah, I understand for sure. He's a man in high demand. Yeah, the real fish dog has to be one of my favorites. But this gets me by, and I'm thankful for that. Yeah. New Local Austin says, I binged about 200 of those real talks with you and Corey. I feel like I earned a fish keeping degree. I would hope so. Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I feel like Corey and I at least like put out a lot of information out there for people. And I always felt like people were gonna clip stuff from that, and we could have like delved into topics and stuff, but it just didn't seem to be the case. It didn't seem to be like people were going like, man, I really need to know about this, blah blah blah, and that kind of stuff. Like expand on this, expand on that. It never really seemed to pan out that way, so we just kind of kept trying to do the show, and it sort of like became rudderless at some point. But I feel like there's still a lot of information in there, even though it really was, it really did kind of get to that point. Okay, something that I have a possibility of something to work on, and this is likely going to be a passion project that I'm going to be working on, whether or not y'all like it or not. So this may or may not be rude to some people or not or whatever, but I'm considering trying to compile some content from older people, retired people that are no longer in the direct workforce. I was thinking about this, and it's been a reoccurring thought of mine that, like, people that are 90 years old have a lot of information, to bring to the table, and they probably don't have the technical know-how to bring that knowledge to, like the online community. And I know a couple of relatively famous people in order to try and accomplish this task. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous, but I wanted to bring it up to you guys. What level of interest would you have in like an interview series of elderly groups of people that generally don't have an ability to communicate to like a young crowd, life lessons, things that they've learned in life, stuff like that. Because I've had a lot of interpersonal conversations with older folks, and one of those things is that, like, I honestly feel like we hear their advice third hand. It's not even second hand. It's like someone heard their advice and then they passed it on to someone else that heard it from someone else. Maybe that's fourth hand. I don't know. But typically, I think that's kind of how that information is passed around, and I don't think it has the impact on the average person without it being applied sort of in a first-hand way. And here's the thing I know. I got a 95-year-old grandmother who knows how to email, knows how to use her phone, knows how to like open files and that kind of stuff. That's about it, though. But she sure as hell isn't going to like set up a camera and start interviewing herself, kind of deal. This is kind of where the thought came from. And like, how could I start an interview process that isn't gate kept by like it has to be a topic that you're interested in? Does that sort of make sense? Like, we can't necessarily just go, well, I only want to hear from fish people about fish stuff because I'm a fish keeper and I like a fish and and that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, there's some older fish people out there that I would like to interview at some point, for sure. And I would assume I'm going to get to that at some point. Or I'm just going to end up interviewing myself when I'm super old. Who knows? But but I really do think that the ways that most people are coming into contact with people of that generation are sort of just, they're just so limited at this point that you're like let's say that like Stephen King was like 80 years old and you wanted to go see Stephen King. You probably would see him at a convention. A couple people would ask him questions. They'd be sitting up on stage. It's super and it's super awkward. It's like super awkward for the average person to even get an idea what it is that they were talking about, because it's super awkward for them to be up on stage like, hey guys, yeah, well, you know, I wrote that book because I blah blah blah, and I was scared of a ghost, and ghosts are scary, so I wrote a scary ghost book. You know what I mean? And so I just think the thought process in my head is going like, I know a bunch of elderly people, and I really would like to figure out a way to interview them and bring some of the stuff that they learned over their long lives to the table versus not, I guess, versus not. I guess the other option is don't do that, right? So, yeah, it's just something I definitely have been considering. Albert says, I asked my parents about the way things were before the information and digital age when everyone's world was so much smaller. Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, I think that makes sense. That's something that I was, that's something I kind of worked on with my grandma, is like trying to like cipher out what it was like to only have a newspaper, and that was like basically where you got your information from. And if you didn't read the newspaper, you kind of just didn't know anything that happened. Like, it's so wild. It's so wild to think that, like, if you hadn't cracked open if you hadn't cracked open the newspaper to know what was going on in the international news, whatever had been reported, by the way, in that limiting form factor of the actual physical newspaper itself, if you never cracked it open, you probably had no idea what the hell was going on anywhere, right? Which is kind of wild. New Local Austin says, I like that idea a lot. The Fish Fam archetype would gel with that. I think so. I think they would. I think they would in a way. And like I said, I know some pseudo-famous older people that would likely be into it, of which I've only like slightly mentioned, you know? And so I think it might end up being the method to getting that YouTube channel off the ground. Because obviously you got to get 1,000. You got to get 1,000 subscribers, and you got to get your hours and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty easy to do if you have flashy edited content. It's fairly easy to do. You can promote it out there, make about 40 videos, and you'll generally get past that that line. S says we should go back to the days of town criers. I'm not going to do that. That would not be cool. You think it would be cool, S? But I don't think that would be cool. Totally useless. Some idiot yelling about the redcoats are coming, riding around on a horse. I just do not want to do that. Sickler Bro says, so I only got to call into work, take the day off, and finish my to-do list early to catch these. All right. All right. That'll get you caught up. You'll be able to show up. What's up, bro? It's good to see you. Just Bob says, I would love to hear people talk about what it was like to go through the time of the World War II and, for instance, Vietnam, and how that was to live through it, like we might talk about 9/11. Yeah, that is something that me and my grandmother have been discussing quite a bit, because she was alive and totally aware during World War II, being an adult, and my grandfather being off to war. So, and she was somebody that was like very much in the know. She was somebody that was definitely paying attention to what was going on. So she does have a lot of information to bring to the table, and it's very interesting to talk with her. It's very interesting to talk with her because she has like a direct understanding of like what was happening at the time, from the ground level, right? And it's one of those things that like, so people have a tendency to get super mad if you talk about things like redlining and segregation and all that kind of stuff that has happened in the United States. But I think generally where most people get super angry about that is like, well, we got over that and it doesn't have anything to do with anything. And it's like, well, there's my grandma. She was alive for lots of that. She's like 95 years old. And I think, let's see, so 1965. So 15, right? Or so 65 is 35, 55, almost a majority of her life, right? It just so happens that it's it's becoming longer now, but when she was like 80, a majority of her life would have been with segregation and stuff. And it's not like it was immediately gone just because they passed legislation, right? So it's a really strange situation. And then also to realize that like people that are my dad's age were raised by those people, right? They were raised by the people that were just pro segregation and everything, right? Not all of them, obviously. It's not the case for all of them, but that's the generation. Like people my dad's age are still around, right? Like basically anybody that was in the Vietnam War is of that generation, right? So yeah, it's a thing, right? Anyhow, you always hear the big stories. Would also be interesting to get the story from normal people, how they felt about all the changes, the first car, the first big plane, people going to the moon. Yeah, exactly. But that's the funny thing is like my grandmother can remember most of that, right? It's very interesting to talk with her because she was around for so much stuff, so many things she was alive for and was aware of what was going on. It's very weird. New Local Austin has a good point here. Any person who is old and willing to share is going to have interesting things to say. They are also generally truthful and don't care what other people think of them. That's true. You do reach an age where it's like that don't matter anymore, right? They'll just tell you about whatever was going on. And one of those things that like I was asking my grandmother about was how was racism a thing, like, and how overt was it? And she's like, it was very overt. It was in your face. Like they literally made signs about it. Like, you know what I mean? You'd put up a billboard about it. It's not even like all secretive or anything. It was legitimately in your face, right? And it's not like people act like it was some kind of covert like operation or something. No, they just literally said it out loud. That's what they were doing. So it's very interesting, especially on that standpoint, is that like most of that stuff has been whitewashed over the ages here of like trying to just act like I mean, if you talk to crazy conservatives, they just say it's states' rights, and you're like, what are you talking about? That ain't true. And it's interesting to talk to somebody like my grandmother who was taught during a time where they were attempting to act like the American history was all just peaches and cream, yeah. Big D Smoke says, I definitely heard some effed up stories from my family members who fled the Jim Crow South. Yeah, and that's, there recently was a trial down in the South where those fellas killed a jogger because and they've been convicted. What's his name? Arbery? I don't know. I don't know his name. How do you spell Arbery? Arbery. That's his name. What was his name? Ahmad Arbery. Which those guys have been convicted of it, which I guess I mean they've been convicted, so I guess there's some form of justice or whatever. But they legitimately recorded it. They recorded that whole interaction, or that whole interaction was recorded. I don't know if they recorded it. I don't know exactly how it got recorded, but it was recorded, and I don't know if there would have been a guilty verdict if there wasn't a video of it. Like, I think unrealistic terms. And there's a lot of echoes of that in a lot of areas in this country. And the other day I saw a very large local argument from some locals that were trying to claim that the area that I live in, Western Washington, is just steeped in altruism and just complete fairness forever. And you're like, this has been a relatively new thing, even here, right? It's been maybe the last 50 years where things have been a more level playing field for people. But yeah, obviously today's show has not incurred any new members or super chats, so I will check the chat and see if there's any topics we're supposed to be talking about. Well, that city attorney and prosecutor that tried to help them get away with it still has to face trial. Well, that's true. Yeah. Thanks, bro. Good to be back. Oh, the Cichlid bro's here. It's so good. So good to see you, buddy. Has Cichlid bro been snowboarding today? Or this year? That's the question. That's how I ended up being in Washington. My grandpa and grandma came here. Others went to Chicago and Detroit, and some stayed down there and are still there. Oh, okay. We started a full basement renovation just as the pandemic started, and then the pandemic continued. Yeah, it's been. Yeah, this pandemic has been otherworldly, I got to admit. I did get my booster shot for my vaccination. I got Moderna for the third time. So far, out of the... I don't know. I looked it up. I was looking at it the other day, and I think I've been tested like 14 times because of suspected possible exposure. Every time I've been negative, so maybe the Moderna works, right? It seems to be from all of the studies. So, and have I had any negative effects? I don't know. I'm just like tired. I was just like basically tired, pretty much it. But I do have to admit, I basically feel tired all the time, so it's not really that big of a difference. Gary B says, just because your grandmother has a lot of her memories still at the age of 95, that would be cool to get her views on camera and document all that she has to say and share. Yes. Hopefully when we sell this house and we move, I'm going to be much closer to her. And, I mean, that realistically is like not that far off in the near future here of, when we're going to be able to move. When we're going to be able to move, if we're going to be able to move. We're hopefully going to be moving north. We're going to be moving up north. I'm from the up north part, so I know where all the roads go and stuff like that. So not too shabby. We'll be moving up there at some point. We don't know exactly when yet, but we do. We are in the hunt. We've started looking. We've started looking at places. We had a bunch of bank stuff that we had to figure out, which most of the bank stuff that was figuring has been figured. And right now we're just kind of shopping around to see if there's something that we really want to do. Greg Jones feels old and tired sometimes. Want to interview me? I'll interview Greg. Yeah, for sure, man. What's up, buddy? I was about to say, is there a convention that we could go hang out at and interview each other or something? But there haven't really been any conventions. I was supposed to go to Vivarium last year. I was supposed to go to Vivarium this year, and it has been canceled both times. So even if I wanted to internationally fly, which I already have because we went to Peru and stuff, I couldn't because there wasn't even going to be a convention. So people wouldn't even have known where to meet up. We would have just been in the Netherlands going like, what? What's happening? I don't know where we are right now. But I'll admit it that I did talk to a bunch of people about going to Vivarium, and they were all very excited to come there and hang out and, do some YouTube videos or whatever. So hopefully they do it next year, and we'll be able to pull it off then. Hopefully. I don't know. Yeah, COVID sort of ruined the convention and fish auction scene. That's very true. It's very true. It has been, it's been a little bit crazy. I know that, I think they're planning on doing Interzoo this year, right? Interzoo 2022, right? The world's leading thing is supposed to be in 2022. Wow. Gathering local pet supplies 24th to 27th of May. Which could be a problem because that's really close to Vicky's birthday. So maybe Interzoo, but I don't know. Things could go totally crazy. Things could go totally crazy by May of 2022, and it might get canceled again. So I don't know. The last one got canceled. We had tickets and everything to go, but that was let's see, was that 2020? Yeah, it was 2020, the year of the beginning of the pandemic. It's been forever, okay? It's been freaking forever, dudes, and I'm pretty tired of it. That's why I'm getting vaccinated, bros. I want this to stop. I want this to be over. I'm trying to encourage people to get vaccinated that aren't going to get vaccinated. Seems impossible at this point because they've convinced themselves that the earth is flat, and regardless of whatever information you pass on to them, they're like, no, the earth is flat. This is all just a conspiracy or whatever. And you're just like, all right, fine. Just then go away and stay away from me, I guess. I don't know. And some people asked me, they were like, well, you wouldn't be willing to do that with your family members. And it's like, some of my family members have refused it, and I've just been like, fine, I guess we can't hang out anymore, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to go and catch a virus from people that could easily avoid it for free. It's free and easy and simple and safe and effective. And it's just like, they're like, no, the earth's flat. And I'm sold on that now, and I can't go back, And they're like, okay. I've tried to sell my wife on going to fish shows during her birthday. It hasn't gone over so well. No, it wouldn't go over well. Although I will admit, I think Vicky would go to Germany. I think Vicky would go to Germany for her birthday and go to Interzoo, because I think Interzoo is only like 3 days long. So if let's say we went for a week and a half, that would only be like 3 days out of it. So I think she would be fine with that. I don't think she would be mad. Went to my first real outing this past weekend with a concert. Felt weird being around so many lax mask wearers. Yeah, that's pretty true. It's kind of weird. It's definitely a weird vibe. I'm not weirded out by it like outside. It's weird when you're in like a low ceiling indoor thing. Is kind of gross. But I was always kind of like grossed out by that before, well before the pandemic. Low ceiling, lots of crowd. Don't like that. I just don't like that. It's grody. Like I know how gross all you people are, and I never liked that before, dude. So. This doesn't even really have anything to do with the pandemic. I didn't like that before. Low ceiling, lots of crowd, people moving all slow, breathing with their mouth open. I didn't like mouth breathers before, right? I didn't like that before the pandemic. Doesn't have anything to do with pandemic. As a matter of fact, it has something to do with. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a computer lab before. This generation, you guys might not know, but me being in my 40s. There was a point in time when you would like go to the library because they had a bunch of computers set up there, and you would need to go to the library, the computer lab, and be like, I got to type in a bunch of stuff on this computer device, right? That was back when people would go like, the computer machines brought to you by IBM, right? And this originated with mouth breathers in the computer lab. So probably like 1995-ish, something like that. Windows 95. I think the IBM, the 486. I think the 486 was the big computer at the time. And you had to DOS prompt everything, but then like Windows 95 came out, and people were like, "Oh my god, you click buttons on things." But it came about back then with the mouth breathers at the computer lab, because people would back then they'd be sitting in there with their mouth open like, I type and it's like you'd go in there, it's like hot breath, and you just like, and people just being and you probably end up catching whatever it is that they have, some kind of cold. Chicken pox, who knows what they got. You'd probably catch it from them because they're gross and they're breathing with their mouths open, and it's disgusting. Movie title, The Computer Room Mouth Breathers. True story. So, it doesn't even really have anything to do with the pandemic. That legitimately was bugging me a long, long time ago. So, yeah. Joel, have you ever taken the Enneagram test? Doesn't ring a bell, honestly. You mean the personality test? Yeah, I think I've taken this. Whoa. Yeah, I don't know. I might take it I don't know. People bug me, but I also like people. I'm all about community, but people bug me, It's a hard vibe to be in where you're like I realistically am a pretty I'm pretty gregarious, and I'm open, and I like being around people, and I love talking with people and stuff, but I'm also like pretty introverted. Of just like, I can't take it anymore. I got to go just like not be around people. That happens to me a lot where I'm just like, no, I've lost my energy for dealing with people. All right, I'm out. I'm going over there, so it happens a lot. Alyssa says, I often wonder if the mouth breathing thing stems from people with asthma or deviated septums having to choose sedentary hobbies. Ooh, that's possible. Hey, look, people have medical conditions. I get it. And that is a total viable reason for whatever you're doing, generally speaking, right? But if I'm being honest about people sitting in a computer lab and a bunch of them are breathing with their mouths open, It's concerning. It smells bad because everybody's hot breath is going all hot out of their mouth, right? I think I'm allowed to have an opinion about that. I think I'm still allowed to have an opinion about that. I might not. Probably getting canceled or something. I don't know. I hear like conservatives talking about being canceled all the time. They're constantly freaked out about it. I generally have zero concern about it, but if you have a computer lab and there's a bunch of people breathing with their mouths open in there, it's weird. And also, I will mention that colloquially, in the past, generally speaking, people that were breathing with their mouth open were sort of got the automatic, like, maybe they don't have the brightest bulb. Maybe they don't have the brightest bulb thing. It's like when you're walking downtown and you see somebody that is they have their mouth open and they're looking up. Right? Because the building's tall. That's an issue, right? That's that you go like, maybe they need some directions. Maybe they're lost. I don't know. Yeah. I work with unstable and so-called damaged people. I must say they're okay, but ordinary people are really bugging me for being annoying gits. Yeah, I mean that's generally true. It's you know, I would generally agree with that statement from my standpoint. Michael Bublé answers Greg Jones' question. Yes, it's a personality test, but this gives numbers and not letters. It expands, explains, and recommends things for different types of characters. That's interesting. I'll check it out. I've seen it before, and I think I may have taken it once. But like, maybe if there's a fun one to take, I'll take it and then I'll post it so you guys will know what my problems are at this point. John Barnes says, I'm COVID positive now after 2 Moderna jabs and a booster. Symptoms have been mild except for fatigue and loss of sense of smell. If you're unfortunate enough to get this, you'll be glad you got the jabs. Yeah, that's the thing. One of our uncles got COVID just a little while ago. And he got like a little bit sick, so he got tested. Oops, he's positive. Oops, he's positive. Okay, so he's positive. But luckily, his he was vaccinated and he had a really mild case. Recovered, didn't develop breathing problems, didn't develop this like consistent fatigue and blah 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 and all the crazy stuff. So I that's the thing for me is like, there's just no reason. There's no reason to avoid it at this point. It's free. The science all checks out. Like it's just stupid conspiracy theorists get wrapped up in because they believed in it. They just can't stop believing in it. It's very weird. It's a very weird vibe. But that's human nature. It really is human nature. Like, you may or may not agree with a political figure, and then, whoa, sawdust sneeze. Sorry. You may or may not believe in a political figure, so then you have to agree with them on everything, right? That's a nowadays thing. That's a 2021 thing, right? Where you're like, oh, if you like Joe Biden, you have to like every single thing that Joe Biden has ever done, right? And you're like, well, he's a person, and there's like probably 1,000 people working in his staff, or 5,000 people, however many people are in the administration. It's a pretty deep number, right? And I certainly don't agree with every single thing that they say, for sure. And I certainly don't agree with every policy. But nowadays you have to. Nowadays you have to, no matter what, you have to agree with everything. Otherwise, you're wrong or something. I don't know. Oh my God, that's right. Alyssa's got Rick rolling everybody with conspiracies. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and conspire with you. Right? Is that how that goes? I probably just got canceled. Canceled, bros. Yeah, canceled. At least they're not mouth breeders. Can't believe no one said that. That's true. At least they're not mouth breeders. Yep. I don't take it as written word. It's just an objective look and may help with blind spots. I think it's great for couples too. Yeah, actually, that might be a good something useful for couples to do some personality tests and stuff like that. I definitely recommend couples to do couples therapy. It's if you can, it's definitely beneficial, just for the sake of it. Just for the sake of it. I do get the occasional advert from Microsoft through my chip, but mostly the vaccine seems to work. All hail Sir Bill Gates. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know. Hey, man, I don't like billionaires. I don't like that whole situation. I think that it realistically should be, this is just my opinion. I think it should be virtually impossible for people to have billions and billions and billions of net worth. And my reasoning behind that doesn't have anything to do with like socialism or any of that stuff. Believe you me, I'm a capitalist guy. I believe that capitalism can work if capitalism is highly regulated. We need a regulatory process in order to maintain an open market that isn't going to end up with monopolies or monopsonies or these overwhelmingly powerful corporations that just do not allow for basically advancement or the amount of technology and advancement that we regularly need, stuff like that. I know like a while ago, a good example of that would be that the 4K TVs, right? 4K TVs came out in the UK like 8 years before they did in the US, and it was because there was a regulatory process put in that required the form of technology in order to update, in order to be a part of the European Union market, right? And in the U.S., they were still selling us the old TVs because they're like, this is the cutting edge, and we don't need to update anything, right? And that just continued to happen for a long, long time until some super boring crap happened, in order to force the hand of those companies. But even now, you can look at it and go like, well, they just reboxed the same TV and say like, oh, it's got more pixels than the last one. And you're like, does it really? How can we even verify this? Oh, come on now. So, it's a big mess with stuff like that. But, yeah. Oh, my God, you guys. We've gotten our first super chat of the week. Our first super chat of this week. A $2 super chat from Alyssa. Here we are like an hour and a half in. And no one else super chatted or became a member. But Alyssa is a member and a super chatter. Look at that. And a guest host on Fridays. So that's a triple threat. It's a triple threat, you guys. Alana Suki's wishing to get that John Barnes gets their sense of smell back, which is probably a good well wish. That's a good well wish. I think it's a positive one. Like, hey, I hope you can smell smells again. The occasional Windows startup sound, yeah, just bonks into your head because of the vaccine, which is just not true. Yeah, I mean, how often do you hear people talking about the 5G tower conspiracy? It just doesn't. It's kind of weird how. It's kind of weird how they jump around from conspiracy to conspiracy and this and that and the other thing, and it's just nonsensical. It's just realistically when you get down to it. Let me check my notes and see if there's anything. Worth talking about. Da, 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 da. We don't have any more super chats, so we can't talk about any of that stuff. Yeah, I talked about the so many projects, so little time. That's just a reality of where I'm at right now, and I just don't even know how to rectify it. I did write down if I had all the money in the world, I probably would simply spend all of my days with Olivia, which is my lovely daughter, which is realistically probably like the cold hard facts of the matter is that, like, let's say I had Bill Gates $100 billion or whatever, right? Like, I think realistically I probably would just hang out with my daughter all the time, you know, until she was old enough to like go off and be doing her own stuff, which is an unfortunate thing to admit, but like I think that's probably what I would be doing. you know you know what I mean. But considering we do not have all the money in the world, there's this issue of needing to work to continue to pay the bills and not starve to death, which is just a fact of life. And we talked about that earlier. That, you know, and I would likely still be working. I would likely still be doing work and stuff. I just think I would incorporate the ability of spending time with my daughter at the same time somehow, which may or may not pan out to doing YouTube stuff. Because there's a lot of limitations to like having your kid on your YouTube channel these days. So, which is good. I think it's a good thing, but you know, who knows? Bill Gates is worth $136 billion, spent $36 billion distributing vaccines and the other $100 billion on a COVID lottery, and then I can afford a fish house when I win. Yeah. He's worth a lot, and yeah. Sigler Bro says, I find it odd how the general public is okay just stay in their own little bubbles and feedback loops, all gnawing on their own tripe. I do it too, but only with respects to my music gatekeeping. Yeah. Well, it's like I was saying before. It's the effect of like, because you already like bought in or believe in something, it's much more difficult to like convince that person of the opposite side of the thing that they already believe in, right? So one of the issues that we have is that there's a lot of people that just believe in things that is an opinion. Like, they have an opinion and then they believe in it as fact, right? Because they read a headline or something like that, and it has convinced them that, oh, well, that confirms the thing that was my opinion. And then once they're into that confirmed opinion, they think of it as fact. And then once they think of it as fact, they have faith in that fact, and that faith makes it very difficult for them to take in new information and adopt it and absorb it into their belief system and go like, oh, okay, all right, maybe the earth isn't flat, right? Maybe it turns out it's not flat and I was wrong. Oh, because now I have the information about it. Yeah. So anyhow, I got to be brutally honest with you guys. I got to go pee, and we don't have any super chats or anything that are stopping me from ending the show. So that's it. I hope you become a member. If you're not, there's 45 people watching right now, so you should all become members so I can get rid of this 69 number. Or you all should cancel your membership so I can just give this channel away to somebody else, and I'm gonna go pee.